Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Low Code Cafe, episode 103. The main topic for today is integrating Python into Plantanet because, we try to keep the platform open. We already have so many scripting languages that we support, but it's always some that we don't support natively. But there are ways to integrate them, and today Radu will show us how to achieve this with a practical use case to convert PDF files to audio files. But before that, let me welcome the new people to this event. My name is Bogdan Litescu. I'm the founder and CEO of Plantanet. And this is a community event. We do it every week on Wednesday at the same time. And we bring together the community to showcase new techniques, new features, tell a bit about what's happening on the community, on the support channels. So it's a lot of learning that happens in this event. Sometimes we also have guest speakers from the community. So if you have a cool topic to share, reach out to us. We'd be glad to host you in this event. This is also being recorded, as you noticed, and there are 102 hours of very good training content just from this event only on our YouTube channel. So I invite you to subscribe and watch as we release interesting topics like we are going to do today. So with that being said, the agenda for today, first we'll have Dale Warner, our head of support, give us a story from the trenches, new hotfixes that came out this week. And afterwards, Radu Niculcea, that leads our delivery and onboarding team. He will show how we can leverage Python when we want to achieve custom functionalities. So Dale.
All right, hello. So today we're going to talk mostly about hotfixes in our service segment here. In our current version 1.21, we've previously released 12, and this week we're releasing 16, and that sounds like a lot, but it's with an explanation here. So there's 6 standard bug fixes that we're doing, and I'll touch on them briefly. And then there's a low security related hotfix that touches a lot of areas of the product. So I'll cover that separately. So on our bug fixes, we had, if you were using a slider, there was the ability to do min and max values by tokens. That's now tokenized. For people who are using forms, there's an option to do full width for button alignment so that the button would cover up the whole width of the screen. That didn't get implemented at first in Bootstrap 5, now it is. You'll see throughout our product, there's an error message functionality that's connected with actions, and that wasn't being saved, particularly for APIs, and so that's now been fixed. Those messages can be useful to present or to log information if the action has an error. So whether, for example, if you use this in forms and an action has an error, instead of displaying a somewhat ugly error message or a cryptic error message, it displays the error message that you provide. So that's a useful feature. In Token Builder, as you might remember, we've removed my tokens as a standard, as a separate module, and now it's available as tokens within the configuration screen. And so we're taking the steps to clean up. You can no longer attempt to add my tokens elsewhere on the site. It's no longer a separate product, and so that takes care of that. People who are using the delete method of an API endpoint, there was an issue with that's been resolved. And when you're trying to upload files in Form Builder, the validation for which extension, it was only working the first time, and if you replace one invalid file with another invalid file, it passed validation. So we cleaned up that mistake as well. So with regard to the security related fix, you're going to see a lot of hot fixes out there related to the security, and They're related to SSRF, and it's, if you search in the internet for security and SSRF, you'll get a better definition of what that is. But we consider this a low security item. We had a client that had a very aggressive firewall, and certain calls weren't getting through because they were enforcing this thing that was not particularly dangerous. And so we had to change our software to allow these calls to get through. So we recommend that you install these, but it's not like there was a big gaping hole that you need to be concerned about. Last week in the Low Code Cafe, I went through installing Hotfixes and the new interface. And if you didn't see that, it'd be a good one to take a look at. But once you, when you go to our updates section, and if you choose to use the new interface, the hotfixes, you can click a button to install all and do them all at once. And that's certainly the easiest way to do it if you're in a position to be able to accept all of them. So then that process otherwise is a little bit onerous, having to install. And under our old interface, we didn't have that install all, and so that would be 16 different clicks. So this is an express method. And just as a reminder, when we get to the next version, 1.22, all these hotfixes are rolled into the next version automatically. So if none of these things are of concern to you, you don't have to install them. Probably one of the biggest things that happened this week is that we now offer live help on our office hours. And let me bring up a screen here for that. If you look on the community website, there's a new menu option at the top called Live Help. I have more options here because I'm signed in with some privileges, but when you click on Live Help, it's going to take you over to our Academy. This was primarily driven by our need to support people who are going through Academy and who are new users to the product, but we're also opening it up to for live help to anyone. Just realize that we're going to give priority to new questions, not to new users and people going through the Academy, but we're happy to live help for anyone. So the upcoming hours are listed, and you can, if you sign in to this using your console.planetapp.com account that you already have, you can click and choose which session to attend, and you'll get a nice reminder from us to say that that session is starting up. So live help office hours, and we've already had some people from within the community take advantage of this. We're really happy to be able to offer it. Beyond that, I will mention that we get together once a week at this same hour on Fridays, typically, for the Low Code Campfire, and it's more of a conversation than a webinar. And so I see a lot of people getting helped there as well by members within the community. So lots of opportunities to get help and move you to the next step with Planetapp. In a minute, I'll post these standard links, but you can register in advance for the Low Code Campfire. You can get access to our recordings, the community portal, and provide us also the feedback on this event if there's anything that you'd like to see or see us do differently. With that, I am going to ask Radu to jump in, and we'll begin our discussion today about Python. And I think this is going to be a cool presentation, and maybe open your eyes to some other things that can get done. Radu was an early star in the Low Code Cafe, and so we're happy to welcome him back. It's been a few episodes since we've had him. He's been a busy guy.
All right, thank you for this introduction, Dale. So let me share my screen, and okay, like this. I also need to share sound for this one. Can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
The one with the Planetapp application, right?
No,
no. Okay, so the Zoom one. All right. Second. Cool. Got it now. All right, so today we'll go through how to leverage Python inside the PlantaNet platform. I will show you exactly how to install Python, what to look at when installing Python, how to do the setup so it's available for you to work inside PlantaNet, and afterwards we'll go into the platform itself and start leveraging the scripts from Python. I would like to start first of all with how to install Python. You will need to install it on your server, so to leverage those features. So I already have it installed on my side, so I'm just gonna launch really quickly Windows machine, and I will show you there. So the idea is that you just need to just navigate to Python, search Python on Google, and then go on the official website and download the latest version. That should automatically download the version that you need for that particular server. So don't worry about that. Now the thing is that on the Python installer, what you need to be careful of is to check the add Python, whatever version is it at that point, to path, and also go with customized installation. Have been sure to have everything checked. By default, it seems that they already have, and you can click next. Then you can just, I personally on the server install it for all users. The idea is that the IIS, which is the web service, basically it has its own user behind the Windows machine. So you will need to have this clicked install user, while the customization, the path itself is gonna change to be available for all the users. The rest of the settings can be as they are, and you can just click install. It's gonna take a few seconds, a few minutes, maybe, depending on the machine that you have. Usually servers are pretty powerful, so it's not gonna take that much. I think let's give it 1 minute here to install, because I afterwards I want to point something up. Okay. The idea is that there are some, to access Python, there you need to be sure that there are some Windows environment variables. Anyway, it's something Python specific related, but it needs to be careful that this is set up so this would work. Usually it does work from basically the checkbox that we did initially to add it to the path, to that path will do the trick from the start. But if not, I'm just gonna take a minute and show exactly where to do this. Now, when you finish the installation, I would recommend to disable the path length limit. That's again something that will save you some troubles at some point. Now we can close the installer. What I will do, I'm gonna go to the file explorer, go to this PC, and in my case, show more options, and go to properties. Then under properties, keep in mind, depending on the Windows server, this may vary, but basically the options that we're looking are named the same. We are going to look for advanced system settings. I think on previous Windows, it was somewhere on the right side. But yeah, you can find specific depending on the version. And on the advanced setting system, you should navigate to environment variables. And there are two places. What we are looking for, if you're planning to use Python to also test your scripts, be sure that, for example, in system variables, we see that those two paths are already added. So you can work with those. If you install it only for your users, those two scripts and Python 3.10 or the version need to be also added in the user account that you are logged in. Usually they are not here, but if you need, you can add those. Why I'm doing this is because on the servers I already did the setup from some testing before this, so I already have everything installed. So that being said, that's basically what you need to do for getting Python on your server. Just usually install it and it should work. If you have some troubles, basically when you open, if you start opening, for example, let's see, like PowerShell interface, now you should be able to do this. You should be able to write Python, and you should get into the Python. So now Python is available for us. Okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close the sandbox for the now, and we can go to the remote connection that that we have, and we can basically, we need to do a setup. So after installing Python, we also need to do a small setup in the application folders. That's so we are, the idea is that today we are planning to use more complex Python scripts, and the idea is that I don't know how to write Python. I just Googled it a little bit. The idea is that Python provides through the packages, the Python installer of packages, the pip or pipe3, provides a lot of pre-built packages that you can utilize. So what I'm planning to do basically in this demo is use two of those libraries. So I simplify and provide additional functionality to the platform, but I need to also do those installations before everything. So let's close this, and give me 1 second to also go navigate the server side of this app that we have and prepare for the prepare the folders there. Just need to connect. I think I got disconnected while waiting. So give me 1 more second. Is everything? Yeah, it should. Come on. Something is not letting me connect to the app server. Oh, okay, that's it, finally. All right. You can continue to see my screen, right?
Yes, and it always feels like a lifetime when other people are watching your work, right?
Yeah, I know. It may be 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It's a lifetime. Okay. Let's navigate to the folder where this application is. I have some of the paths already prepared, so you can go to this pretty quickly. Now, this is the app behind the scenes. This is the installation folders. Those are basically the app folders that we have. What I'm going to do now is basically I'm going to go under. I'm on the root server. So here I want to create a new folder. And this folder, I'm going to name Python packages, right? So that's basically the name that I'm planning to use. And the idea is something like this. So if you open right now a Windows PowerShell, you will be able to start installing the Python packages, right? So this are going to do through this app that gets installed automatically when you install Python, so you don't need to worry. It's called PIP. So what I'm planning to do is basically I need to install 2 packages. So to do this, usually you just type like pip and install, and you specify like the let's see what was one of those PyPDF2. So this library is going to help me to extract the text from PDFs. But because we want to use Python from Plantain app instance, we need to install those packages locally. So Python can access those in the current user of in the user context of the IIS, the web server account. So basically what we'll need to do is also, this line basically is going to transform to something like, let me clean everything, and it's going to transform to something like this. So basically also specifying the target of the installation folder, which matches the one that I'm here. After we write this, basically I'm going to install the first package, and I'm just going to say enter, and that's it. The package successfully got installed. And the second one that I'm looking to use is the second one that I'm looking to use is the one that's gonna basically convert text to audio. So the idea is that Python also provides those modules that are already done here available on the internet. So you just need to write like my script. It's only like 10 or 20 lines to achieve this functionality, and those packages are basically really quick to install.
Radu, before you move on, I understand the target where you want them to install. The package name pypdf2. Is this just a library that's standard with Python, or how did you find?
I browsed Google.
Okay, but did you have to download those, or
No.
Python just knows where they are?
No. Usually, so basically, how to convert a PDF file to text-speech audio in Python, and then they basically specified if you want to do this, you need those two libraries. You just run this code, and you're gonna get the functionality. And usually, I got like a simple text. Sadly, the second library, PyTT, whatever the name is, I had some problem installing it, so I went with another one. But basically, I just searched how to, and basically the import name, it's what we're looking to install. It's that kind of simple for Python to do this.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, this is basically from where I started with Python, the third version of Python, and I got into issues. I kind of did a little bit of research, and there was a problem with the second one, at least installing the packages in a different folder than the default one. So afterwards, I just I went for searching for another one, and I found this one. So I just adapted a little bit the script to work like this. All right.
Python knows where to get that stuff. Somebody wants to do something other than what you're doing, or even repeat what you're doing, just has to give it the right target in their local.
Exactly. Wherever the root installation is, create a folder. The idea is that the name of the folder, it can be arbitrary. You can choose whatever you want. I just went with Python packages. It makes a little bit more sense for me. That's it. You don't need to keep the same name regarding this. Perfect. Now that we have Python installed, we have all the packages that we need inside the application. Let's go and try to run from the server's perspective. Let's try to run some Python code. So to do that, okay, we don't need the PowerShell at least for the moment. We don't need PowerShell anymore. How I did it, but you can choose wherever you want to deploy. What I'm going to do is go under portals and 0, which is like the default website. And here I created a new folder, and I just called this like I just called this Python. And inside it, I went and created a new file. Let's say let's have this test dot, and the extension for Python scripts, it's PI, right? So I just renamed the file, and usually when you install Python, if you keep all the checkboxes, it's also gonna add an IDA, basically to start editing the Python scripts. So the idea will be that at this point I can say something like print 1+1, let's say something like this, and you have the option to also run, save it before and run, and the response is going to be 2, right? So we got this function at this point. Now before jumping into the actual Python script that I wrote and I have already prepared, I want to go a little bit into the Plantain platform and show you how you can basically, now that we have everything, the setup is here, and how we can execute this simple code that we just wrote here. So let's go to the configuration side of the platform. Just give it an eternity on my side.
Has to wake up, yeah.
Yeah, has to wake up. And we can go to workflows and start our first workflow. Let's go to the start and say, let me zoom in a little bit because this is going to be really small. And let's use the PowerShell, run PowerShell script, right? So what we are looking right now is basically to run that Python code. And basically the script has, basically after you run the script, you get an output token. So basically the response that you are going to get from that running is going to get into this token, is going to be plain text. We're expecting to get 2 back, the value 2. So to run this, and basically this applies to all the installations. One thing in mind, right now the version is 3.10, so that's why that was the installation folder that was in my example. This may change, so you may have to be careful when installing Python to see exactly what you do. Upgrades may happen. You may have different versions of Python. Just be careful when referencing the X for Python. Then afterwards, what you need to do is basically execute. You start with an end character. You specify the Python path, and then you basically specify what's the script, basically the script file that you want to execute. In the end, you just put an output here, right? Like this, you specify the name of the token that you're gonna get out of the platform. You end the really small flow. You output that particular variable, save and test. Let's give it Python test, right? Like this. And we can save, we can run it, and we get 2. So basically we run, at this point, we were running Python on our true Plantain app, and we can leverage that from the server. Any questions until now from chat or Dale, or
no, not so far, but I get it. You've proven that Python is running, and that you can any valid Python syntax you can run and get an output.
Yeah, I took a little bit a step further and also installed the packages that I needed.
Yeah,
I took it, but right. Let's go create another script really quickly here. Let's have it PDF to, or I don't know, audio. Let's go like this. Oops, rename this to .py, something like this. Yes, and let's edit it. So I have already this particular script prepared, and I'm gonna go really quickly through it and explain. So that's basically everything that we need to have. The thing is something like this. One mention that I have, and it's gonna be somehow required in all the scripts. You have to specify where to pull the packages. So if you remember, I installed 2 packages, 2 modules earlier for getting text from PDF and transferring text to an audio file. You have to specify the path from where you want to use the packages. So I installed those packages inside the root of the application. I want to use the packages that are inside that application. The idea is that when Python runs, it's trying to access those packages to compile to run the script, and if those are outside the application, the user of IIS may not have access. So this is like the safest way to be sure that you don't get into like security issues and accessing different files with different issues. So that's just specify the path of the Python packages that you wanted to install. I already installed those. I have my import of those. The first line that we have here, it's basically getting the name of the file. Sys.arg.1 is basically one parameter that I want to basically specify the file name of the PDF exactly. Then I'm getting the output file name, which is gonna be the same name but .mp3 that we are gonna get here in the end. This line basically opens the PDF. This line counts how many pages there are in the PDF. Those lines here basically go to each page of the PDF, gets the text, and put them in one variable called text. And those 3 lines are basically saying, I want the language to be in English. Please convert this. Those are the settings. So those are gonna basically initialize the engine that converts text to audio. With this text and with this language and a false slow mode, how fast it's gonna be outputted it, and then just save the file over an MP3. So again, me on my own, I wouldn't be able to program this in a while, but by just leveraging this, I got this small script working, and now I can just achieve this functionality. And the magic is that Python has a lot of this kind of library, resizing images, doing AI, doing text recognition, OCR, everything that you need, it's already built. You just need to put them in, put those lines in a particular order and get the result back. So in particular, this script that I have here, if I run it, sadly, it's not gonna work most recently because I cannot pass the parameter properly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this script from PowerShell again. Give me a second. Yes, like this. Oops, let's not make it. If it's small, I'm really sorry. Let me see if I can. Properties, and I think I can make the font a little bit bigger so we get to see a little bit better. Good, perfect. So to run this, basically get we can have something like why is this not sorry, and it's a little bit too long. In any case, let me see if I can make this fit the screen. Not helping. The font increase this is not really helping me here. It's basically specifying I want to write Python. I want to write, and I don't want basically my script right now. It's PDF to audio. So to do this, let's rename this really quickly. The PDF to audio, and then we have to specify basically the PDF file. I got everything prepared. It's funny because I got everything prepared, but I forgot to get my PDF file. So let's go on the internet and grab really quickly sample PDF. Really quickly, let's see. Will this work? Okay, this should do the trick. Save. Okay. We save this. Not open the file. Sorry. What I want to do is basically copy the file. Copy the file in the same folder as the script. The script here.
It doesn't have to be in the same folder, but you have to tell it where it is, right? In your...
Yeah, exactly. You have to specify. The idea is that, the idea is that because in the next few minutes, I'm gonna actually upload the file through Planted App and put it in a file in the folder and everything. This path will change. The whole path here will change, but just for the sake of the example, I'm just thinking of doing this in the same folder, just so you can see the things happening. So this is the line that I want to run. If I hit enter, give it a second, and we'll see that the sample MP3 the file generated, and I also get the text out from that particular script. So now I'm gonna do something. I want to see exactly if the sample worked. The MP3 got generated at the text. I'm not sure if I can run sound directly from the remote machine. So what I'm gonna do in a moment, I'm just gonna get this to my local machine where I know I can play sound, and we can hear this together. Where's okay. And let's hear this out. Let's see.
A simple PDF file. This is a small demonstration.pdf file, just for use in the virtual mechanics tutorials.
Is the sound?
Absolutely, it came through perfect.
All right, we don't need to go to 1 minute and 30 seconds of this, but you got the idea.
More text and more.
The document, the file, basically the sample generated, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete the sample for the moment, the MP3 file, and navigate back to my workflows. What I'm gonna do, just to simplify, I'm gonna clone the existing one, the workflow, I'm gonna say PDF to audio, so and text. Well, we can go like this. We don't have PDF to audio and let's click save to rename it. And for the execution, instead of having the test by, we can run the line that we basically have here. We run on the copied it and just have it here. One thing that I want to mention here, it happens, and it happened to me. It happened to me, is that sometimes you may get errors while running the Python script, and you may not know why. Let's run this for the moment as we know it's gonna run, and I'm gonna show we're gonna cause an error, or maybe we can specify a wrong PDF file or something like this, and let's see how we get errors from the PowerShell script directly from the Python run. All right, let's click save. And let's see if I can have those side by side in a way. So we get
the sample PDF does exist. Are you trying to?
Yeah, the sample PDF exists for the moment. I just want to show you that if I go now and run this, the PDF is going to get generated at the file. But not only that, I'm also getting the whole text back inside Plantanet. So from now on, whenever I run this, I'm just going to generate the sample file, but also I'm going to generate the I'm just gonna get the text directly back. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an entity. We're gonna upload the file, and we're gonna get the text and also fetch the file from the disk, and attach it to that particular entity. Okay. Now we have sample PDF. The mention that I want to have is that sometimes you may get into errors, and for example, if I specify a PDF that doesn't exist, try to run this, what's going to happen is basically you're going to get no output, but you have to try. There was an error behind the scenes, so that's why you don't get any output. So there is this trick that someone from the team teach me to use. So just go at the end of the execution of the Python script and add this 2 bigger and 1. And this basically says that if there's an error, the channel of the error response is going to get on the main channel. So basically put the channel 2, which is the error one, on the main channel. So in this particular situation, if you add this in the end, if you run this, you're going to get the actual error behind the scenes. If this is going to run properly, you're going to get the actual response. So this was pretty useful when trying to play with those things. I was getting into some errors. I wasn't figuring out why. So basically, this is going to point you to the Python error directly. So if you have the same code is properly set up, you're going to get the proper response. Otherwise, you're going to get the error. So that's like a small trick, which I personally recommend adding to each execution of the PowerShell, so you can get an idea at this point while developing, to get an idea what's happening if something is not running, or you get an empty response, and you shouldn't get an empty response in those particular situations.
Very cool.
All right. Now let's stop with the Python for the moment and focus a little bit on the Plantanet side, right? So what I will do right now, I'm just going to go really quickly and create a quick entity, and let's say PDF and PDFs. Let's go like this. What we are going to have, well, let's say we're going to have a name. We are going to have text, and we are going to have audio file. Right, so we need those 3 properties. The name can be text. The text can get little bit, can get large depending on the PDF. So let's go with large text, which is going to match the nvarchar max in the database. And for the audio file, let's go with from entities. Let's go with a document for the moment. Let's make the name the proper one. The text, why not searchable? And the audio file, well, we can leave it as it is for the moment. And let's click save. Right, let's preview the application. Now we have the PDF into the menu. So what I want to do right now is basically have this workflow, the PDF to audio and text. I want to have this basically to get the parameter of the file, right? So what I would like to do, I'm just gonna go with PDF name like this as one parameter, and for the moment this should be enough. And let's click and save. So now we can basically say, I want you to generate this from sample PDF, right? Or I want you this to be generated from sample2 PDF and so on. And the PDF name itself, we can go to the process and say, okay, this part here, we want to basically get it whatever the parameter is, right? So now if I run and test this, I can say, okay, use sample PDF and run this, and it's gonna work, and I'm gonna get the text from the server. Otherwise, I can go with sample2 and I'm gonna get the error. Now, having this with the parameter of the name of the PDF, what we can do is go to the PDFs listing generated, and we have this new form here, which is actually I forgot something. I actually forgot to get the PDF. Give me a second. My mistake. I need the PDF to also have the PDF that we're gonna upload, right? So let's go with PDF file. And let's have it like the second one, and this is gonna be also a document. And let's click save to regenerate really quickly the interface. All right. So what I would like now to happen is basically I'm just going to choose a name. So let's say my sample. And whenever I choose to load a PDF file, I want the text and the audio file to get automatically filled in. So for the moment, we can make the add form just to simplify it. We're only going to use the first two fields, and then the rest of them are going to get automatically populated. So let's focus on the name and the PDF file, right? So before doing anything else, let's go in editing and changing a little bit the logic of the what happens when you click on the add of the PDF, right? So right now it's just gonna create the new PDF entry, attach the files and everything, but before closing the pop-up and doing this part, what I want is go and say execute, go to the Python PDF to audio and text, right? So to do this, after we are going to create a PDF, right? We are going to just go and say, I want to grab the PDF. First of all, let's say the PDF file that I want. I don't want it to upload it in the what Plant and App suggests to me. I want to go and say, oh, okay, because a small mistake that I did. I need to go to the site assets of the application. I've created the folders manually, and the application doesn't know yet about them. So I just need to synchronize so I get the new folders in the application. So now I should get Python. So by synchronizing this, if I reload really quickly the settings, I can now see that I have my Python folder, right? So I want those to be basically loaded into the Python folder. Now going into the help text, I'm looking for the file name, file extension. I think the token itself should be sufficient. I think this is going to bring me the file name on the server. Yeah, so this is the token that I'm looking for. And I'm just going to go to create PDF. Not creating PDF. Oh, and I bet. Audio.
Yeah, that wasn't saved.
I did. I forgot to save earlier. And I'm going to get the PDF name, and then I'm going to get the text. So basically the output right now is text. Now, looking at what I did, I think I rearranged those actions badly because I need to grab the text and then basically specify that I want the text to be not the field of the form, but the output of the previous execution of the workflow. So until we get the audio file itself, let's see if this works. So this is going to be just grabbing the text part. So let's click new, sample, choose file. Let's see. Okay, this is my local. Don't I have any? Okay, give me a second. Let me grab really quickly the document of this. Save it. Print PDF. Yeah, that should be fine. Sample. Save. Close this. Choose file. Our sample PDF. Here we go. And let's click add. And and I got the error back instead of the I got the error back. Please.
Yeah, maybe you should just save the PDF, not print as PDF.
No. Look what happened. The name got the document got renamed because there was already a sample file there. So let's delete this entry for the moment. And to simplify my life for this particular example, let's go to the PDF file and say I want to overwrite the existing document if it's one of the same name. I know it's not the perfect solution, but I think I'm not sure if I have a file, a token that's gonna get me the renamed name of the file. Anyway, I think this should do the trick. And let's go again. Sample, use the same PDF file, add, and what's the sample.pdf?
It says no text to speak, so I think maybe try to save the PDF instead of printing it as PDF. Maybe it will text when you print it.
Oh, all right.
So just download. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, replace it. Maybe that's a good point. That's a good point. Let's see. Let's try again. Maybe it's printed as a page which doesn't have. Sorry. That may be my mistake. Let's try again now that it's a PDF, not a printed version of it. It's taking a little bit more, so I'm assuming it's grabbing the text, and voila, we used Python to upload the PDF to Plant an App and extract the text from it. I would give it a try. I'm gonna be honest. Bigger test. I have a file downloaded, which is the COVID abstract, basically, and it's a little bit close to 2 megabytes. And we can give it a try to see what's gonna happen with a bigger PDF file. Most likely, it's gonna take a while to iterate and grab all the text, but just let's give it 1 minute.
So regardless of the audio file, just the ability to extract text from a PDF is a cool functionality.
Yep. Yes. I think it's like the thing is that right now I'm doing this in what, like 45 minutes, something like that, and now I know the process because I know the process and I have the script written and everything. But behind the scenes, when preparing for this, it only took me like 2 hours to get this kind of functionality into the platform, which is not that big of a time to achieve something like this. I think just to give you like an idea, this is like the file, and it has like 52 pages. So I think that's why it's taking a while. Anyway, if it's not gonna is not gonna finish in a minute or two. I still want in the last minutes to show you exactly how to grab the audio file. Maybe I can please.
Maybe on a new tab.
I think I can do that. That's actually a good idea. What I'm gonna do, I just think a little bit just to simplify. I think to simplify a little bit the process. I don't think I'm gonna need in the PDF. I don't think I'm gonna need to link basically the audio file. I think I can simplify a little bit the process. So let me just save the audio file input and duplicate the PDF file. So we don't. Oh, I think I moved faster than the application. What I can do, I can just go to the listing part, and instead of having the audio file, I can add a computed field, which will basically allow me to add my own custom way of showing a column. So this will be like I want to have like an audio control where we can actually play the sound directly from the browser. And I think the easiest way to achieve this is just basically try to point directly to the audio file that we know that we have on the disk. We have an MP3 file, and the path should be basically which one? Oh, I think I did a small mistake here. It's gonna be definitely MP3, but I do not have like the file name, so maybe we can go with the name for the moment and be sure like the name is gonna be the same as the file. Just for this example, and we're running out a little bit out of time, so I know how to make this work, but I just want to have this working. So if I click save and refresh this, did this finish? Not yet. Now basically I get the not field name. I'm not that in a hurry. Let's have it audio file, something like this. Okay, and have it something like this. So now I can play
simple PDF.
I can play this
PDF file
directly from the browser and also extracted the text. How is this doing? Not done yet. So yeah, so let me see if I can find like a smaller sample PDF. Let me see if I can find something more in a decent size, like a smaller size. The idea is that if this is taking too long, there are options of basically executing this kind of processes in an async way. So you have this run execute actions asynchronously. So basically what you can do is move this PowerShell script inside this action, and this will run on a different thread, and maybe just email when in the end when the conversion happened. So that may be also a solution for this. Now, let me see. That's okay. This may actually work. So this is what I'm looking at. It's a document that has a little bit. It's like a smaller version of what we got. So if I download this as well, maybe I can go here. Try to do the upload the file again. Sadly, I need to name this. Come on, the same way, so we get MP3 extension and everything like this. And let's see if I click on add on this. I got what I got here. No, I got the second one finished processing, but basically the last one, it maybe had been too bigger, and this one, no file. C64 sample explanation PDF. I'm not finishing this episode in a great manner. So let's see how this looks on the server. So Did I upload it? Didn't I? Give me a second. Oh, this is sadly, okay, my bad. Save, yes, save this. I think this got resetted for some reason. And let's go with this. And I'm getting I'm getting an error, which I didn't got until now, but you know, it's a demonstration, so you have to get this whenever it's important.
Absolutely. We like to finish on a strong note, but if you go back to what you accomplished there on the first one, so there's a little bit of piping that needs to happen, but I mean, you've proven that you can upload a file, you can extract the text, you can get the audio. And then in a bigger sense, you've proven that any script that you put together in any Python script that returns a good result, you can take advantage of it, right? So somebody who already speaks Python, this would open a big door. If you don't know Python, but you're willing to put in some time, you can experiment and if you find a script or a library that does what you want to do, you can get there, right?
Yeah, I think I think some of my examples had the Python got blocked on the server or something, because I'm not that much of an expert. I see like the files got generated, but somehow the response is not getting. So I got the files generated.
Policy lessons post struct.
But I couldn't just for some reason the response from the PowerShell is not communicating back with the application. The files that I was trying to generate, they are generated, but something which is a little bit out of my expertise regarding Python, I'm just getting an error, and I'm not really sure why. But the documents are getting generated. It's just not responding. I'm getting that error for the moment, so I do not really know why.
So sure, there's a quick question or comment from Roberto about could be executed the workflow in a database on insert job, right?
Oh, so, yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. So you run it somehow that you do not block the form itself doesn't stay that in that state of please wait for too much time. So yeah, that can actually be a solution, but it depends on, yeah, that can actually be a solution. So it can run through automation. Yes.
Perfect. So with that, I would encourage people who are watching to, if you were to do a little bit of research in Python or try and figure out like a Google search of what you're trying to accomplish, plus the word Python, you might bump into a Python script that would you'd be able to take advantage of. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Good. I'm gonna just share here and thank you for doing that today. That was I think a very cool demonstration, and you know, I think that's our first foray, at least from Low Code Cafe into Python, and we've covered how to set it up, some of the techniques, how it works with PowerShell, and how you can quickly get results and errors out of it. So very cool job. Thank you. All right, we will see you next Wednesday, the same time. Come to another episode 104 of the Low Code Cafe. See you then.